I wanted to look and revisit the Chazal that the language of the Chazal is after after Abraham buries Sarah. So the Medrash says that HaKadosh Baruch Hu said to him, Shafasta umnasi, bo levosh levushi. You took over you grabbed my craft. So you should wear my cloak. And that's why the pasuk follows and says that Abraham was granted a hadras panim, a certain grace that comes to an older person who ages in like fine wine. And Hashem blessed Abraham with this blessings of his old age. So Abraham buries Sarah, and he's given the title of Tofasta Umnasi, you grabbed my craft, Bo Levosh Levushi, so now you can wear my garment. And everybody asks, of all of the chasadim that Abraham did, the chesed of burying Sarah would hardly rank very high on the list, given that any husband who wouldn't bury his wife would certainly not merit our respect. And here, Avram buries Sarah, which is what any husband would do, and he's granted this title of you've taken over the craft of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And the Alter of Slobodka uses this as a launching pad to describe Chesed. And more than just describing what Chesed is, he describes our capacity for Chesed. Meaning, it's not just what we do for somebody else, it's the fact that we are able to enjoy the benefits that come not only to ourselves, but to others. We can look forward to those benefits, we can enjoy those benefits, we can relate to those benefits, and they become part of our pleasure. And he builds the case that the less the recipient feels uncomfortable, the better the chesed is. And it's more like the chesed of Hashem, when the recipient feels less beholden, less indebted. So that's why doing a chesed for a karo, for a close relative, is considered a greater chesed, because a close relative doesn't feel as embarrassed, beholden, lower by having received a chesed from a close relative. It's almost, not fully, but almost within the norm of expected. And certainly when it comes to one's wife, spouse, where we're able to do chesed in a way that does not create a sense of indebtedness. So this is the human capacity for rising above his selfish nature, transcending his selfish nature, and becoming more and more like HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Incidentally, the chesed that could be brought to somebody else by davening for them where they don't even necessarily know that one is davening for them, that is even a higher level of chesed, because they don't think to thank me at all. They are recipients of chesed, and I can enjoy the fact that they're recipients of chesed, but they're receiving the chesed from a Kadosh Baruch Hu in a way that conceals their indebtedness. So you have all of these levels of how a person can do and experience chesed. What intrigues me, the Alter doesn't speak about. What intrigues me is, why don't we see more people in our world enjoying somebody else's good fortune? Why is that not what everybody's doing? Go to a chasana, and certainly the people are happy that the young couple got married, that parents are marrying off their children. I'm sure that people are happy about that, but it doesn't seem necessarily that this is the dominant experience in our world. And I think that we need to look at the old expression that I go back to all the time. The expression is, I'm fine, how are you? And what is implied in the I'm fine is the bitachon that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is taking care of me completely. The bitachon that everything that Hashem is doing with me, He is doing for my best. He is thinking about my best interests, both in this world and in eternity, so that a person feels this sense of fullness. David HaMelech refers to it as kosi rivaya. My cup is overflowing. There is a sense of fullness that does not exist in a competitive world of dog eat dog, of somebody wins and somebody loses. In a world where somebody it considers a win and a loss. If you win, then I lose, and if I win, then you lose. In that world, it's very difficult to feel full. It's difficult to feel I'm fine. It's difficult to be gracious, because a person is always feeling as though there's something or someone who has more than he does. And so this competitive nature doesn't serve our interests well in trying to be like HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You know, people who feel full are the ones who, when another business comes to town, they get a phone call from the business that is already in town with all sorts of advice as to how they can be successful. And that does not mean socialism. That means an olam chesed yivoneh. It means that I recognize that my purpose in this world is not to get ahead. My purpose in this world is to enjoy. And enjoyment means tapping into the pleasure that HaKadosh Baruch Hu put into us, because it's the pleasure that comes from Him. And that pleasure of being able to see someone else succeed, I think you have a little bit of a trace of it when a parent sees a child succeed. And Chazal say when a teacher sees a Talmud succeed. And Chazal say there's no jealousy, because there's the pure joy of seeing the other succeed. So instead of just talking about what is Chesed, I think it's important that we go back to ask the question, what part of my being is designed for Chesed? In what way am I part of the Olam Chesed Yiboneh? And I think that the story always goes back to bitachon. It goes back to feeling that sense of fullness of I'm found. I'm taken care of. I'm looked after in ways that I could not even imagine. And here, crisis and tragedies, especially tragedies as big as the Holocaust, become part of the challenge. So you have the challenge that comes from competitiveness, that gives the person a sense of limited resources, that there isn't enough for everyone. And so I need to always be looking out for myself, and I can never make room for other. So there's the environment of competitiveness that takes away from the sense of I'm fine. And there is the existence of tragedies that we don't necessarily understand how those are designed for our best, and even for the best of those who are affected, that they give us an opportunity, for example, to help out, to do chesed, to give them tzedakah. They give us a chance to access eternity. But fundamentally, there are challenges to this basic nature that Chazal revealed to us that we have. We have this nature to be able to enter somebody else's world and to share their pain, of course, and to share their joy, even more so, to share their good fortune. And so this is an opportunity to stop and think about not only what does chesed involve and the amazing levels of chesed that a person can do, even to the point where Chazal say that Rabbi Akiva was able to do chesed for himself as other. He was looking after himself, meaning taking a bath and experiencing that as a chesed. But it's not just that we can do chesed. It's that we're able to tap into the sense of fullness that ultimately is what makes chesed possible. Because in the absence of that fullness, then we're maybe following the rules of making a meal or doing this for that one or doing that for this one. But it doesn't tap into the joy, because the joy is suffering under the burden of the sense of I'm not fine. So I just wanted to use this as an opportunity to point us in the direction where we should always be thinking about I'm fine, so that the how are you is more authentic and is more enjoyed. We can enjoy the how are you when we don't feel in any way jeopardized or threatened.